Hi guys, how you doing? I hope all is well. Welcome and welcome back. Now, as you can see, this is a Karmic Mother read. Now you know these are heavy, sensitive subjects and strong language. But I do have a message first. That's because I got this. I triple checked to make sure that it was for everyone, and this is especially for 'cause I know a lot of my subscribers deal with karmic family members, karmic mothers. Um, I had picked up on this feeling that I had never picked up before. I mean, I've experienced like the worst demonic stuff going on around me, but I had never picked up this level of disgust and disdain from the spiritual realm. I was like, because I know they constantly doing them on me. Because right now because the ascension it can't be stopped, but people who are on the little dark side, they actually think by locking down and getting rid of unaliving chosen ones and star seeds that somehow they're going to get a new beginning. And that's not happening. And I noticed this came up in a lot of the shorts in the angel reads. They are telling you as far as negative people, go ahead, leave karmics behind, disassociate, and cut cords because I was wondering, I was thinking it was like just mine, but they specified that it wasn't just me. But I was like, well, they've been doing death spells for the longest. And I'd be like, I've never picked up on this. And then I heard judgment. And I heard massive blowback. That's why they need you to separate yourself because it is about to start hitting and it's going to hit huge. And this probably would include entire areas. Get these, cut those cords, leave these because they're really urgent. Some people, it's not everybody, but they do still have some people that are still tied to karmics. And I know a lot of times that happens with family because what they're doing now is you can have a karmic family member and you have other members of the family trying to bait them back in and get them to come around right now. And it's crazy because the most disgusting, nastiest vibes are coming from elders. That whole I brought you in this world, I take you out. It's almost like they believe that and they take it literally. You have too many people who actually feel and they're so in their ego, so narcissistic, so unhealed that if things aren't going their way, they honestly think that they are in the right, that they're not doing anything wrong by planning to unalive their own family members. And they are using other family members to do it. So please disassociate from these people. So I think that was it for because I'm going to talk about that more too. But I want to get on into this mess and I need the authorities to go ahead and you can just go ahead and pull out your notebook now because I have some stuff for you that you need to check in because this is ridiculous because my karmic mother is desperately when I say that my phone is being tampered with right now all day every day just about 30 minutes ago I could somebody was messing with my phone I couldn't even do anything to the screen and it's like kind of fading in and out. And it's weird because before I did this, I was about to change my shirt. And like the crystal point, it was stuck on the inside of the shirt. And I'm like, and I couldn't get it apart from anything. I'm like, I'm trying to look down there. I'm like, it was stuck. Like the pendant, I could not, get the thread out. So then it dawned on me, wait a minute. I was like, this is my dad's shirt. And my dad passed 2 years ago after a very questionable, extremely rapid decline in his health. You know what that was? And I was like, oh, I get it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to leave the shirt on. And like 2 minutes later, I pulled the shirt again, and a pendant wasn't even stuck to it. So that's almost like my dad's like leave. I was like, that's that coverage. I was like, okay. But here's the thing. When I was getting those downloads, and it was funny because that's when they was doing some crown chocolate message. Babe, I'm still gonna get those downloads, okay? Um, cause this video wouldn't, cause I still was going to do like part two, like the second to last one, because the last two Karmic Mother videos I did were like really suspicious. Even the second to last one, the very next day, they tried to set me up because when my Lyft driver came, it had some strange looking dude in the back seat, and a driver talking about, oh, well, I'm gonna take him to the store when nobody was supposed to be in the car, and I'm like, mm-hmm. But they wanted me. It's gonna be two. One, the second one's gonna be more of an esoteric, but with this one, their desperation to try to get me locked up is insane. Run around here, I don't know what all is going on because there's so many lies going on, so much deception. You have half the city, you're paying people all over the place, taking trips, going here and there. Your whole day and night, all of y'all just dumb as hell. But I tell them vampiric beings really have y'all stretched out like $2 whores. Y'all spend all of y'all time running up behind people that want nothing to do with you. Like me, I don't want anything to do with any one of you. But as far as, I'm gonna tell you one thing, because I didn't expect to get this type of information. I didn't expect some of the family members who were involved, and I didn't realize how long y'all been doing this and how y'all responsible for so many deaths in this family. But as far as the crazy part, let me give investigators one thing you need to check. Now, my mom was a supervisor for a company that's owned by the federal government, and she had a friend. The lady was a good bit younger than her, and I knew she was like super, super jealous. So I'm surprised they were even cool. But they had worked at this company for years. I mean, like years and years, probably at least 15 together with well, I'm not sure how old, but was there for like probably 30, almost 40 years. I don't know. But the other lady, she was there probably for at least 15 years, something like that. And my mother's a type, she's extremely envious. She will smile in your face, but if she thinks that you're going to do better than her, or if you're younger than her, she's going to hate on you and she's going to target you. And this is something that you could check because the way this happened doesn't even make sense. Now, this lady was so good at her job, she actually got promoted to a position that was higher than my mom. As soon as she got that promotion, my mom started going to her house a little bit more. And I was like, that's strange. I'm like, because I know she's jealous, but she started going to her house more. Then all of a sudden, she starts saying, oh, Janice is crazy. Janice is going crazy. And I'm like, what? Oh, she having problems now. She's having problems. I'm like, and in the typical Masonic fashion, because that's what my mother's all tied into. They tell you everything. That's what I noticed about her early on. Whenever she says something, she's telling you what bothers her and what spell she's going to do. I noticed her and another family member doing that. After I figured out what they were doing, I would actually just be quiet so I could see exactly what spell work was being done. Well, actually, at the time, I thought she was getting it done. I didn't know she was doing it herself. Well, I guess I didn't want to admit it. But anyway, as soon as this lady gets the job, she starts having all kind of paranormal activity and stuff is bothering her. She's like, oh, she keeps saying she's seeing stuff. Oh, she going crazy. She going crazy. And it just worsened really, really quick. And all of a sudden, not only was that lady not able to keep her position, it was so bad she couldn't even keep her job. So you went for somebody who's been working for this company and got promoted to a position as high as postmaster. Yeah, I went there. She could get promoted to this position, and then all of a sudden, her mental health is so bad to where she can't do the job. Not only that one, she can't work anymore, period. And something else that you could check of now that she's always had this position. I never forget when I was about 15 or 16. So this was in 19, like around 1990 or 89, 90, something like that. And I never forget one day she was talking and she just started laughing. She was like, whenever I see ghetto names, I don't even go past the name. I throw them in the trash because that was back when we still had applications. And I was like, even she got the blackest countryest name ever. And I was like, what? And she was like, whenever she sees a ethnic name, she refused to look at the application. After she sees the name, she puts it in the trash. And I realized what that was, women that are in her age range, they wouldn't have those, type of names. But women that were a lot younger than her, they would, because the names she's talking about, they didn't even have then. So I realized, I was like, it's not a name on attack. I said, this is a attack on young melanated women. And she thought it was real funny. And it was weird because that was back then. I used to kind of have visions of stuff. I didn't understand what I was looking at, but I remember seeing different faces of women with children, but I didn't see any males around any of them. So it wasn't until I got older that I realized that it was a lot of single mothers that could have had good jobs. They would have either been getting ready to retire or just retiring that they couldn't get because she was throwing applications away based on their name. And because even she was, when they even before that, when I was young, she used to actually give the test when you had to go in and do the test because I used to be the one to sharpen the pencils. So this was something she had been doing until everything was computerized. So if the authorities would go back through the 80s, through the 90s, you will see a pattern or a lack thereof as far as, and you have stuff as AI generated. I'm pretty sure AI could pull a list of them names like nothing for the 80s and 90s. And you'll see a pattern or a lack thereof that was done intentionally. That's the type of person that you're dealing about. Those things are both something that you can check. Now for And one thing she tries to get me in trouble about is my abilities, but I've already stated for the authorities before, y'all could get me testing those extrasensory perception tests. You can't hook anything up to me, but I know it's multiple ways you can do it because this does get into more intuitive. Now, this is what shocked me when all the judgment stuff came in. Something I wasn't expecting. Now, it's one thing when your guides give you an image of a person versus when you intuitively see that person. And definitely wouldn't expect, not at the time the way it happened. Then I saw an image, presence actually right there in my face, of my cousin who passed several years ago. And when he passed, we went talking. We had like a little stupid disagreement about money, about tips actually, because he used to cut my son's hair. And since we weren't talking when he passed, I was like, it kind of sucked that we couldn't, patch that up before he died. So when I saw him, it's like I kind of like didn't know what to say. I'm like, what the, like, what the hell? So it's like he laid his life path on the side of my life path. And it's something that I had never noticed before is that we were both alcoholics at one time. We both used to drink real heavy. But at the time, I had just started my spiritual awakening. That's when I got real serious with it. I had just started my spiritual awakening, and he had been stopped drinking. Um, well, I'm not sure, probably a few years, but he was doing his wellness thing too. It's like we were both healing, both doing the healing work ourselves because he learned how to cut hair, and then he was cutting hair, and then he went back to school. Um, Everything was looking up for him. He was cutting his hair on the side. He was going to school. He got into a relationship, and they got engaged. Now, his mom and my mom are extremely close, like this. My whole life, growing up, she still stayed. Shut up, spells. They still stayed in the same house then, so they were like 5 minutes away from each other. And then something else that he had brought up is, and I'm like going back to the wanting to control everything. It's either my way or the highway. But he was the only child. Now his mom and my mom, they were just happy as two peas in a pod almost when we were both alcoholics. But when we both started healing, it seemed like that's when the problem came. So I was like, I was like, that's strange. But I used to always wonder, how could she not be evil and they, that close? Then after that came up, another one surfaced. And that was my aunt's son-in-law. Now, I had never heard anything about him being an alcoholic. It's like these were back-to-back deaths. My aunt, who I mentioned in another video, when I was little, when my mom used to gossip, because that's all they did is gossip and talk about people, I could see that they used to have that reptilian structure, them little flashes. I used to see flashes of that. That's why I say pay attention when you think you see that flash. That's a vampiric being up in there operating that vessel. That means they are dark and those things have taken over. This is some nasty generational curses I've found out about. Now they're all real close. Now I never forget when he died. I never heard anything about him. Well, they weren't married too long, but I never heard anything about him being an alcoholic. And all of a sudden, mom had told me, "Oh, well, such and such is dying." And I was like, "From what?" Um, Something failed, his organ failure because of alcoholism. I said, you know, and that's when I sat back and I'm like, wait a minute. So the three closest people in the family had back to back had back to back deaths. And I was supposed to be right in that little number, but like I said, I had just got out of a relationship and I was in the process of starting over. And I didn't know how I was going to start over. But and this is actually when my dad really became a target, because see, I was supposed to die. We was all supposed to die at the same time. That would have got them all kind of attention, sympathy. Oh, we lost our kids. We all lost our kids to alcoholism and blah blah blah. But that's why it's real important to listen to your intuition. I had mentioned before that I had a friend. It's in another karmic mother video. She passed when she was 27. All of a sudden got sick. A few years before that, her older sister died at the age of 27. And I know that her dad is a predator because he used to openly flirt with his daughter's friends that were like 13, 14, 15 years old. So that's, I'm looking like, wait a minute, all of these, I realize I'm just dealing with a bunch of Masons and Eastern Stars. When I first started taking my healing seriously, especially after I enrolled in a metaphysical college, that's when the spouse and my mom, they turned on me horribly. My mom would literally come to my house, look at me, refuse to speak to me, and would just come over there for my husband. And I'm like, okay, in 10 years, they've never been this cool before. It's like they were trying to hurt me, but were also letting me know that they knew each other better than I thought. And of course, I found out later that that was someone she sent who was also a Mason. So things had got so bad with him. This is when I'm gonna kind of go through this quick, but this is when my dad really became a target because she slipped up right after that and said about my dad one time, and he acted like he had dementia. And I looked at her like she was crazy because my dad had no nothing of dementia. He had already retired and had been working somewhere else for almost 10 years. He needed a knee replacement surgery, and that was it. But it would be almost 10 years later until he was diagnosed and died in a real short time for dementia. So she's already letting me know what they had been working on. And then when she, called and said that he had like a spot of blood on the brain. So too many similar, as far as with the going crazy and they're alcoholic, weakening people to unalive them. And it's realizing that all this group, all these people in different positions and high positions around the city were all freaking Masons and Eastern Stars. What they were doing, it's almost like they gridlock cities. It's I would kind of, why is this coming up? You know how they always every time somebody gets big or something and they always end up dying in their hometown. It's like that kind of situation is they want to control who is who. If that person is a star seed, original being, chosen one, they will take you out before they see you successful. The thing that saved me is like everything tied in, they bought everything together, is like one day he was acting crazy, crazy, crazy. And I think I have never heard my guides, and I actually had angels all around me. Everybody was telling me, like, call the police. Or they really want me to tell this because that's on record because the police did come. They kept telling me, call the police because it had just got real bad. And like I said, the spiritual warfare during that time was crazy because I was thinking he told me it was just his family had been practicing magic for over 200 years. He didn't say that he was too. So we're looking at families that for over 200 years they just been recycling and doing the same bullshit in the family. And when I was with him, it was a lot of physical manifestations because when you with a person and you actually with a demon, someone who was supposed to come in and was supposed to unalive you, it's the reason why I'm saying all this. It's gonna tie in. It was crazy, but they kept telling me, call the police, and I'm like, he didn't hit me. Like, what the hell, you know? But he looked like he was about to because we had fought before, and we fought more than once. And I was like, they kept telling me, call the police, and of course I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? So I'm like, okay, I had already said that because I at that point I was a stay at home because I had worked up until I had my last child, but since my son had autism, and the child I had, my last child, she had autism too. I had always said that when my youngest went to kindergarten, that I was going back to school. So she had just back to kindergarten. So that's when it was like, oh, we got to shut her down. Spiritual awakening and this, we got to stop her. But I kept hearing, call the police, call the police. So they told me, call the police. This is, how did they put it? This is this is probably gonna be your only chance. They ain't saying when, they said it's probably gonna be your only chance. You're not gonna be able to, do this again. This is your, she said, this is your window. Get out of it. So I was like, damn. So I did. I called the police, and it went better than I thought. They came out. They talked to me. He was acting crazy. By the time they got there, all my clothes and stuff, because he came and snatched all my stuff out of there, which he wasn't even supposed to be in a room because we had been sleeping separately for over a year. At that point, anyway, like I said, once I started that spiritual awakening and my energy started shifting, see, I had no idea that since I was a child, I was feeding damn covens. But after the police talked to me and they talked to him, they came and they told me we're gonna have to ask him to move because we don't feel um, you or your kids are safe. So I'm like, dang, what the hell did he say? But I guess they was listening to the angels had it. I had so many angels in that room, so they must have they sent the right cops, I guess, to pick up on that. So they moved and all that, but they wasn't expecting. I guess he thought I was gonna just say come back to them. Or I was gonna go back to my dad, my mom's house. But like I love my dad, but I always told him I would say I'll go to a homeless shelter. I said I'm never come and stay up in the house again because I couldn't. Ugh, her energy is gross and disgusting, and she just so envious and ew. She's gross and thick back, just like you expect a reptilian to be. But the guy we were leasing the house from, he told me, he was like, well, because that house was high as hell, and we was doing a lease purchase on it, and I was either going to have to buy the house or do another one. So the guy was like, well, I have another house that's ready for you to move in if you want to rent that one. So I was like, looked at it and I'm like, it's fine. So that's when I had to, lean on my dad. My dad was fine. My dad was like, I'll give you the money to go ahead and get you the house. And even then, that house was cheaper, but it was still high. So my dad was like, look, he gave me the money for the rent, first month's rent and the deposit. He had told me he gave me, give me so many, few $100 every week to help me with the rent. So apparently, um, my dad helping me kind of threw off the ring of deaths that was supposed to happen there, and that's when he like really became a target. But like in that last the Karma, I think I might repost that one tomorrow too. But in that one, I remember seeing her This was before, as soon as he got that house, 2 years before. When I first went there, I just went there to look at the house. This was before we even started cleaning up. I can intuitively see my friend who had passed away, which very suspiciously. Could see her standing at the front of the house, and she just had like a half smile on her face. And I always thought it was kind of weird because I was expecting them because of course I invite they was gonna come anyway, but I always invite my spiritual team to come. But the fact that nothing had even been done there yet, and her look was concerning. It's like years later I found out the reason why that she was standing there, because that was the setup spot. That was the house I was supposed to die in. And after the police removed him, they think I don't know about this, but in my mom's house, she had a set of butcher knives that she had got when I was real small. So they were real old, and the wood on the handle was like a weird grayish white color. So now I had been sleeping in the room at that other house for like a year, and all of a sudden, with nothing was should have been on the other side of the closet, I noticed two butcher knives that were in that closet, but they were pointed directly to the bed. So at first, I thought it was just a spell. I'm like, well, it's just a spell. But I couldn't deal with the fact thinking like, but the first thing I said when I saw them is these knives aren't from this house. Because that's the first thing you notice if it's somebody else dishes in your house. And I'm looking at them handles and I'm like, I know those handles. And I'm like, what are the odds that he would have some 20, 20 plus year old butcher knives that aged the exact same way and had the exact same chippings on it that I found in that closet. That's how sick this woman is. Why would you? It's one thing to want to try to sacrifice your own. I don't think you're my real mama anyway. But the fact that you provided the knives. Now, when I first started this channel, I have a short on the channel where I had got some information from a funeral home. And like my middle name is Vinay. So if it's stuff that I fill out that's important, I'm gonna put that V as the middle initial. And I got some stuff in the mail from a funeral home. Middle name Vinay. And I'm like, and that's when that was during the time, now this was several years ago. Oh hell no, that ain't was several, maybe that was about, how can that be several years ago? It couldn't have been, I started this channel, 2 years ago? And I had just got it. So it's like 2 years ago. That's when everybody was celebrating my death. But the crazy thing is, that's when I say, when these Mason and Eastern Stars, they gridlock up this city, they gridlock it too. This is how I know that they have people working in the funeral homes that are part of it. Because anybody knows me, know I like science, kind of weird stuff. Well, now it'd be weird to anybody else, but at one point I did want to own my own funeral home, and I wanted to be a mortician at one time. Then I said, well, I just want to own a funeral home. So when once I was in Walmart, and it was an older gentleman, he was in the line behind me, and I'm a friendly person, so if somebody was standing, start talking to me in line, I talk. And he mentioned that he, worked in a funeral home. I was like, what? And I was like, oh, I was the one to do such and such and that. And I was like, I even, thought about being an embalming tech. And see, 2 years ago, I was still, kind of open to doing that. I'm like, sure, I might go ahead and see about being an embalming tech. So he was like, oh, well, what's your number stuff? Just on a cool tip or whatever. But that's just how I am. I'm cool. And I wanted to know, I wanted information because that was something I had wanted to do for a long time. The people close to me would know that. So I'm like, okay, yeah, they knew how to bake because I got message. They let me know that that man was sent. And that's when I was getting these downloads, the stuff, that funeral home information that I got was from the same damn funeral home that man worked at. So y'all follow me so much, y'all always know where I'm going, which is crazy. And let me see if it's in. And then the thing is crazy now. Back to let me segue this. I'm gonna say this. Now, my mom, her way, because see, like I said, I've been the enemy from jump. She hates younger women with ethnic names, and she had two children. Now, one who she actually treats like a child, my older sister, you wouldn't know what her ethnic background is. But like I said, my middle name is Vinay. My first name is very ethnic. It ain't that as soon as you look at that application, oh, she's black. So I'm like, I wonder, it's almost like she in her deranged mind, she would, because she never wanted to be for me to be successful. That's why I was gaslit every day since I was a child. She never wanted me to be successful at all. But that's crazy that you would send a mason to me who works at a funeral home where my funeral was planned. Authorities, you could check that too. What else did I come to? Now it's another death in the family. I mentioned this one before because this was before I got this message. But I mentioned I was already kind of separating from her. I just didn't do it abruptly. It was like a tapering off. But I was at the point where I was like, I don't want to bother with her. Her ass been blocked for several years now, so that was a while back. But I had mentioned in the video, her own nephew got murdered, unalive. And you know how when somebody that you don't want to talk to, you know how when somebody is trying to really trigger you and they say what they have to say really, 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 really fast. So you want to cut them off so they can go ahead and say what they want. Well, she did that to me when he died. She told me that he died. The way she talked about how his mother found him, I think was so disgusting and disrespectful. It's almost like she it was exciting to her. That's the first time I like literally call her a pure animal because that's what she acts like. And then she immediately just started talking real bad about him, basically saying that because he had been an alcoholic, that he deserved it. So she had to hurry up and rush and say that. And I'm like, it was so obvious. She was, just trying to trigger me, basically telling me that since I used to be an alcoholic, if I get unalive outside the way he did, that I deserved it. And that's when I was like, I'm not talking to her no more. I was like, she is an animal. And that's exactly what you look and low key look like, an animal. Um, all of these deaths are literally back to back to back to back. The only thing that saved me from being the last one is because I followed my intuition and called the police. And like I said, they made him leave. Everything, the whole plan got changed up, and unfortunately, that made my dad a target. And something else, people, what the authorities need to be checking is her and the people around her, and the downfall and demise, and check on paperwork. Because number one, I have all kind of insurance policies and I never signed not one. Actually, right now she's basically using the judicial system to cover up crimes and to gang stalk and harass. She's literally using you, where the ones that aren't um, the part of the secret society, because they're down there in the courthouse too, including the attorneys, probably a judge too, because there's no way. But I know that's how they are. They operate. They had a little network. But baby, when I tell you, it's over. I'm still getting my new start. But the thing that's sickest about all of this has been a plot since I was a child to literally take my earthly inheritance and to take my spiritual inheritance. So the way you did that is exactly how you did it. And you set it up to where somebody that you will end up sleeping with, you sent them to me. So, and you made a big mistake, because I guess they really thought they were celebrating like a couple of years ago. Because when I got that funeral stuff, they was doing it up big. Then they was really celebrating. They just knew that I was up out of here. But you already using my name and my social security number, stole my inheritance, got bank accounts and P.O. boxes in my name. So the way this was all set up is that when I was unalive, you go off with the download dude and you easily assume my identity because y'all was sleeping together anyway. That's some nasty work, but it's not gonna work, honey. I just saw that. I'm a this need to, and I'm gonna say it because I know they ain't gonna want to do it. I'm gonna do a esoteric version of this video because I need to do like a death toll roll call with the oracle and tarot. And something else where I say when misfortune follows her everywhere, this is the one that probably made me the saddest because I think it is really sick what you did to my other cousin. Now this is one that's older. It's probably at least 20 years ago. Cause or has it been that long? Close to 20 years if it hadn't been 20 years. Now when I was little I had a cousin, first cousin. She used to um she used to babysit me and my sister. And she was really sweet, but she was freaking gorgeous. She was really, really, really pretty, like the perfect shape, everything. She was just super, super, super beautiful. And it used to be weird the way my mom used to always say, "Oh, she have a nice this. Oh, she have a nice that." One thing about my mom, she hate happy couples. Everybody around her single. Everybody, from the young to the old, she gonna keep you single. And I could tell what about the girl made her uncomfortable. But my cousin, she was super super sweet. She was an engineering student at LSU, and she was dating this guy. I never forget because he used to be a city bus driver when I was a little small kid. Good looking couple. I mean, they were a good looking couple. They were all in love. Both of them were super sweet. But it seemed like as soon as she got engaged, she was really, really happy. But also, after she got engaged, that's when her health started. She started having a lot of health problems. Come to find out, she had cancer. So, and it was weird because it was almost like it was with my dad's health. Like once because they target, I saw the little monitoring spirit. It's like everybody gangs up and targets the same person, and their health gets really bad, really, really fast. And her health just got bad real fast. And then her fiance broke up with her. And it's like I felt so bad for her because I'm like, everything was just perfect. But now she has, cancer, and her fiance has left her. I think what made this sad, now she was able to go ahead and finish college and she ended up moving away. But she basically suffered. She was always sick. She was always in a lot of pain. And one thing that triggered my mom about her was her body. She had a really nice shape. And I could tell that, and one thing I did notice, when she moved away, that's when my mom started traveling to go see her. And then she would come back, and it was almost like she was glad to say, it's just the way she do stuff was so sick, bitch. You was disgusting. And then try to always trying to bind yourself to me, smelling like old bleach water and shady pines. Oh, get away from me with this mess. But anyway, she would. It seemed like it was when she would go, everything would just get worse. And it's like this lady just suffered until she died. And it's like every time you went to see her, you came back so happy that she gained weight and her hair broke out. That made you happy. So what the authorities need to be doing is looking at her health and my mom's trips to go see her. Because what you dealing with is a sick ass demonic predator tied with child trafficking and is using y'all for criminal things. I know I probably forgot something. This is sick. Like I say, this is unfortunately right now. Oh, and a lot of people probably clicked off, but the um the geomagnetic storm that we had like 2 days ago, it was surprisingly they were expecting a small storm from this CME, but instead it ended up being a larger one, a G4. And now everybody's shocked because that came out of nowhere, but that lets you know that the magnetic field around the planet is also coming down too. That's intentional. So when I say you need to get away from these karmics, low vibrational people that are not ready to do the healing work, it's serious because um, I am getting whole areas. It's going to be crazy because the blowback is about to hit and it's going to be nasty. So that's why they really want people out of the way, because it's going to be crucial. So I just had to get this out for the authorities, because you know they. I hope I didn't forget anything. Mm-mm. Well, it was another thing, but to me that story, like the one time they just knew I was out of here. But that story is too beautiful, because that was a serious divine intervention where I actually saw a divine being in the flesh. This is when I was supposed to die in a car accident. And actually, if he wouldn't got in front of me, I would have died, because for some reason I didn't have my seatbelt on that night. And I hit the steering wheel so hard, I pushed the steering column in and fractured the bones on the side of my face. And actually, if that being wouldn't have got in front of me, I realized that it's like he absorbed all the impact. But one thing I can say, those four nurses were at the hospital. They let ass was on orders that night, because ain't no way those were regular nurses. And if they were paid. Everything. That night was like a set stage, but what I saw was like extremely beautiful, because they did like the car accident spells. It's like I had some accidents where I even had an insurance adjuster tell me before. He had no idea. Hell, that was the first wreck I had. Why hit a I ain't lying, I was up to no good that day. I did have something in my system. So I smashed a utility pole and flipped it over a couple times. It was like I don't know how you got out of that one, but it was the second one. That one was supposed to take me out, but they absorbed all the impact. Because if it's not your time, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what they do. If it's not your time to go, you're not going anywhere. So, like I said, I had to get this out the way. I just need to get back to my regular schedule program, because I'm not about to give these obsessive, empty, unwanted beasts my attention. So let me see if there's anything else. I don't think so, because oh Lord, it's gonna take forever to upload. I think that's it, but I do have some more. Well, actually a lot, because that's special when I get in with the energy and things that need to be released. So you guys just be careful out there. Do not entertain the trolls. Don't feed them, because one thing I even noticed that like on YouTube, and people that are unhealed, they're just doing a lot of stuff to irritate you. That's because the planet is ascending. They need your energy and they need it bad. They're desperate. So that's why you have people getting attacked now. You have people, under people's comments saying nasty stuff to them. They trying to do anything. Like, can I have a piece of energy? It's just so pathetic, the unhealed. But you guys take care. Like I said, I'm gonna do an esoteric one, but I have some other stuff that I wanted to get out the way first. Didn't know this one was gonna be so long, but yeah, authorities need to check out. You dealing with this is nothing but a death code, and they criminals. They do this for money. So y'all take care, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next.